welcome to this class. I hope the noise that around me are not distracting. So today we are going to have a 10-minute lesson on Workshop Technology 1. This has been our lesson, and today we are going to discuss about fire and fire extinguishers. I know we know much, we know about fire, and just like issues that have been going around, that there has been school strike, secondary school strike. So in this class we are going to learn about different fire and fire extinguishers, and the purpose of the lesson, we are going to learn to classify fire extinguishers. So by the end of the lesson we are going to classify fire extinguishers. Then we are going to, by the end of the lesson, you shall be able to draw a table containing classes of fire, source of that fire, and fire extinguishers to be used to put off that fire. So just like I had said, we know that there are different. We know that unless fire can be used wrongly, especially when it is burning where it is not supposed to be burning. We know fire is good, especially when you are supposed to cook. But when it is burning, or where it is burning where it is not supposed to be used, it becomes a risk. It becomes a risk to human being. So we need to know, now that it has become a risk, then comes a need. It becomes now a need to know how to put off that fire. It becomes a need to know how to put off that fire. Then another point, when it becomes a need, not all fires can be put off by water. I know we have been using water at home. When we want to put off some fire, we use water. But there are some types of fire that when you put water, the fire may not go off because of the source of that fire. Like for example, if you use water when the source of fire is petrol, we know that petrol, when you mix petrol and water, petrol goes. Which one does not? Which one goes up? Petrol. Okay, thank you, Gibson. Petrol goes up. So if petrol goes up, then it means the fire will continue burning. So now it becomes a need to know the type of fire, the source of that fire, and thus the fire extinguisher. So we have 5 classes of fire. We have class A, as you can see. We have class B, class C, class D, and class E. How many are those? They are 5. There are 5. The fire risk in your business premise will determine which fire extinguisher to be used, as we had said. So we are going to look at briefly the above classes of fire. So we shall start with the first class of fire. I hope we can see the slide, but I don't want to be alone. I would like to ask whether you can see the slide and whether you can hear my voice. I want to ask whether you can hear my voice, or whether you can see the slide. Miss, tell me whether you can see the slide.
Yeah, I'm seeing class A
Thank you.
fire.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the first class of fire is that fire that comes from wood. You can see the picture there. That is a woman. Maybe you can relate it with previous experiences in our country. So, fire that comes from wood, paper, fabric, trash, rubber, it is classified as fire class A. Class A fire. And the type of extinguisher to use, we use foam or chemical powder. Because of time, we shall go to the next class B, fire. Just like I had previously said, petroleum. This class of fire comes from petroleum-based oils, paints, and kerosene. You can see the experience in Kisumu. That was a tank. The previous experience in Kisumu, where it burnt several people who wanted to take some petrol from it. So this type of fire, you cannot use water. You can only use foam extinguisher and dry powder. Foam extinguisher and dry powder. Remember the first one. When you use okay, the other one, okay, it is in the next slide. So you can use foam extinguisher or dry powder. Then number 2, because of our time. Then number 3, we have class C fire. So after we have petrol, we have another very, very risky type source of fire. We have the LPG gases. You remember the gas that you used to cook with at home. So this is the propane, methane, butane. That is the LPG gases. This is classified as class C of fire. Remember, we are classifying this fire on the basis of the source. On the basis of the source of that fire. So you can use dry powder extinguisher. I want to check here. Okay, we are 2 minutes towards the end of our class. So you can use fire, that is dry powder or carbon 2 oxide. Then we have class D fire. This is from metals, and not all metals, but they are metals which are very reactive. That's potassium, magnesium, lithium. Any fire coming from that, it can only be put off by dry powder. Then we have class E, last 3 of fire. We have, this comes from motor appliances. Remember, we had not talked about electricity. So fire that comes from electricity, maybe you can say class E. The word E, so that you don't forget E, electricity and motor appliances. So you can only use dry powder, copper, that is carbon 2 oxide. So after having done that, now we can have the table there as a conclusion, whereby you have class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E showing. So in case of an exam, you may be asked to draw that table consisting of classes of fire, source of fire, and the fire extinguisher. So that is the end of our lesson today. I hope you have learned the classes of fire, and the assignment is here. In cases of an accident of fire in the workshop, what are you supposed to do in cases of fire in an accident? What are you supposed to do? So, in event of accident of fire in workshop, what are you supposed to take as a first aid? So that is the end of our class. We shall meet the next lesson.